Good morning all and welcome to the Digital Toolkit Ranking Australia for November 2019. Today we'll have Andrea Anderson, Sheldon Morey and myself, Katrina Poranic, delivering the Digital Toolkit around the 3 essential tools for online marketing for your business. Okay, so without further ado, we will get started, and the people we've got involved are representing Ranking Australia, that's myself, Sheldon Morey naturally for Sheldon Morey Technology Consulting, and Your Marketing Machines, Andrea Anderson. So we're all covering our different aspects for this presentation. So myself, I will focus on landing pages that convert, and Sheldon will be looking into the wonderful world of customer segmentation within the business technology model. And he would be happy to answer any questions that you have around value proposition and what a customer is worth to you. And Andrea Anderson will be kindly exploring the wonderful world of the marketing blueprint and looking into marketing automation, understanding your CRM and that customer nurture journey. So buckle in, and we will be starting with Andrea, followed by Sheldon and then myself. So thank you again and enjoy the webinar.
If you can just let me know that you can see the screen, that'll be fantastic.
You're all good.
Have you got my screen there, Katrina? Give me the thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yep.
Perfect, thank you. Hey everybody, fantastic to be here this morning. My name is Andrea Anderson and I'm the Chief Ideas Specialist for Your Marketing Machines. We are a marketing agency that focuses on building out your presence based on the master of you, actually mastering your communication. So I'm very excited to be here today with you, and I'm hoping that there are some nuggets of gold in and amongst the valuable information that we're about to share with you today. So let's get cracking into it, shall we? So look, the key for me is when I started looking at marketing from a distance, this is what I fundamentally found, and that is marketing is this big black hole where, you know, it's a big massive funnel where it has all this, you put all your money into it and you hope like heck that something comes out the bottom that actually makes sense to you. And look, if this is how you're feeling about marketing right now, you're not alone. 99% of businesses, even marketers themselves, have a tendency of getting confused. So look, any questions that you've got around marketing and technology, as Katrina has recommended, do put your questions into the chat bot so that we can attempt to answer those for you. But however, what I want to do is move us away from the black hole, and I want to introduce you to something that's actually quite simple, and it's called the marketing blueprint. And the marketing blueprint is primarily based upon the power of leveraging what you already have at your hand. So team, I now want you to be moving more towards assets and liabilities. And what we're looking at here is assets inside your business that are marketable and can provide leverageability for your business. Now, inside the marketing blueprint, what are we talking about here? 4 key simple steps. Yep, marketing is as simple as 4 simple steps: lead generation, nurture journey, prospect experience, and sales conversion. Now, automation actually has the power to be able to streamline the way that you have somebody who comes through and as inquiry or as a lead, and actually takes them on this fabulous journey of getting to know you. And more importantly, you providing the lead with the opportunity to self-select whether they are hot for you or not for you. Because let's get it right, we know that there are tie kickers out there. Yes, you know, put your hand up, we've all had them. I deal with them often, and they love, thank you, and they love to be able to baffle you because they come across and they're really excited and they really want your services, and then they're gone And it's like, where'd you go? And you've wasted all this valuable time that you could have been spending on someone else. So what if we could automate your marketing so that you could give people the opportunity to self-select, to select that they're ready to speak to you right now and to find out more information? Or actually, you know what? No, I'm not ready to actually come and have a conversation with you because I'm still in the checking you out zone. So who would like to do that? Because wouldn't that save you thousands of hours in wasted energy, as well as save you thousands of dollars? So what I'm going to do today, because the key here for me, the crux of it all, is that I want to share with you probably one of the most important components of your marketing blueprint. And it's probably the one that gets missed the most, and that is the nurture journey. HubSpot released a stat not so long ago, and the statistic was that businesses spend on average $97 on actually getting a lead, but they only spend $1 in the conversion process. So for anyone out there, if you're focusing on lead generation, I'm going to encourage you just to put that outside the door for the time being. And I just want you to come and play in the nurture journey zone, because this is where the sales conversion process actually begins. It's not at the give me your money and I'll give you what you need. No. The conversion actually starts here. And what I find really fascinating is whenever, I talk to people, the last thing we want to do is look like this. Come on, put your hands up. Who wants to look like this? I can guarantee you there's no hands going up right now. But what's fascinating is this, and I want you to take a real hard, close look at the way that you do things. 9 times out of 10, this is actually how you behave. And this is how you actually look. In particular to people who aren't quite ready to go into the buying zone with you right now. Okay, but you don't know that because you've got a lead. Somebody's, filled in a contact us form. Somebody may have emailed you and you think, woohoo, yeah, I'm going to sell to that sucker. The reality is they're not quite ready for you yet, but this is how you come across to them. So how do we avoid looking as dodgy as these characters? Who wants to know that? Put your hand up, woohoo, yeah, let's go. We're going to talk about the little wonderful world of something called a CRM. And no, I'm not swearing at you. It's actually known as a customer relationship management platform. And this is the go-between, this is the bridge, this is the crux, this is the cookie, the creme de la creme of when you actually receive a lead and the process in actually converting them into a sale begins right here. So what is a CRM system? And as Wikipedia states, it's an approach to manage your potential and current customers. True story. I was talking to a potential client last night or yesterday afternoon, and she runs a personal concierge business. And I said to her, so X, do you have a database? And she said, what's that? I went, okay. I said, it's a place where you put all your people's contact details, your customers and your leads. She goes, oh yeah, I've got one of those. I said, great. And I was hoping she would have said an Excel spreadsheet at least. But no, she says to me, it's in my head. And I said, well, that's a real scary place for it to be, because what if you got hit by a bus? She goes, yes, you're right there. So when we're talking about CRM systems, team, we're actually talking about a place, a housing system where your contacts, whether they be your customers' contacts, your referrers, suppliers, wholesalers, your leads, people who have gone onto your website and they're now wanting newsletters and connections with you, all goes into this thing called a customer relationship management platform. And I am baffled by the number of businesses who do not even have this on an Excel spreadsheet. At least on an Excel spreadsheet, we can do something with it, right? Okay. So your CRM, it is the data analysis about your customer history. And you'll hear people out there in the marketing world talking about buying behavior and consumer insights. And you might think, gosh, that sounds like poppycock. Well, actually, no. It's actually quite true. And I hate to say it, because in the environment that we now do business, we have created under the digital space a very voyeuristic environment. Ooh. And voyeurism is where I can actually check you out, baby. I can go and check out your LinkedIn. And yes, you know, you might be able to see that maybe I've spotted you. I can go to your Facebook page. I can go check out your Insta. I can go read through your website, and I can learn more about you, and you won't even know about it. And that is what we've done today in the business environment today. People can suss you, but you have no idea they're looking at you. So your CRM system provides an opportunity for you to have a range of communication channels. So all of the information coming in into one area, it now provides you that opportunity to communicate consistency, clarity, transparency, and more importantly, that middle word, relationship. And the key here is nowadays we do actually want relationship. We don't actually want to be like that person in that previous slide there. We don't want to look like the dodgy salesman out there who's just trying to get one over me. So what are the benefits of putting inside a CRM system, which is an integral part of your automation here, guys? Number one, better client relationships, right? Number two, the ability to be able to cross-sell. Now, what do we mean by cross-sell? Let's say, for argument's sake, you sell, let me think of something here, something of interest. Let's say you sell skincare. And you've got a client that has bought an eye serum from you. And let's say that you've been really good in just communicating nicely with this particular client, and you find out that she's actually got really dry skin. Now what you can do through your CRM system is you now have the opportunity to be able to encourage her or to introduce her to your dry skin range, right? You don't need to talk to her about the fact that she doesn't have oily skin. You can talk specifically to her needs, her requirements at a right time for her. And that's one of the powers of actual communication inside your CRM system. Team collaboration. Some of you out there might actually have a couple of employees or VAs. So now you can actually work all off the one system. Perhaps you're looking at a way to improve your customer service. Maybe you want to do something that you should be doing, and that's called make money. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Because who wants to make more money? Put your hands up, click in the chat box. Yes, I want to make more money. And so you should. Well, your CRM system is an integral part of that. Nurture journey is an integral part of increasing your bottom line profitability. Maybe you want to do increased client retention. Maybe you're sick and tired of having to go out and get a new client. And maybe you actually need to find ways to stop clients leaving you. Perhaps you're looking for a greater average spend per customer. You might have customers who are spending $25 with you right now. Perhaps you want to increase that to $35 because, as we know, the rule of thumb is it's far cheaper to keep the client you've got than to go find another one, okay? And perhaps you want to reduce your marketing spend because, boy, I am shocked at the amount of money people spend in their marketing and are getting no results. Go figure. I'm not surprised. So what do you actually need inside your customer relationship management software? I'm a big fan of collecting the right data. Data, data, data. Data is king. Without data, it becomes a very difficult element to run a business successfully. So some of the data you may want to collect is demographically, their name, their email, their phone number, perhaps psychographic, how you met them. Perhaps you met them through a networking event. Maybe they were referred to you. Perhaps they came through your website. And over time, you want to find out their likes, their dislikes, their geographics. Where are they situated? For most businesses out there, this is absolute integral to be able to know, especially from a growth strategy. Let's say you have got a business where 22% of your current clients are actually in New South Wales. Maybe they're down in Newcastle. Well, wouldn't it be a little bit more smarter then if you knew that and then decided to grow bigger in the Newcastle area? Food for thought. An infographic, this is where if they're a business client, you can find out about the industry they're in, maybe the size of the business. You know, are they a solopreneur? Do they employ 1 to 4 employees? Maybe they employ 50 plus. The beauty about having this kind of data is that you can then analyze down really who actually is your ideal customer, rather than going, yeah, I think that person over there looks pretty darn good to me. Okay, so your data analysis is real integral, and there are so many different places that you can actually collect your data from. So within the nurture journey process, we're talking about a software integration to not only create leverage, but also to streamline the way that you operate your business. And in particular, if you're a solopreneur, this should be one of the main areas right now that you should be investing your time, your effort, and some of that hard-earned cash. Or else what you're going to end up being is that proverbial hamster stuck in the wheel, going around and around and around, never getting anywhere. So when I look at a CRM system and automation and creating that leverageability, I look at 3 key components that have to work hand in hand. Number one, the actual CRM system itself, which is that containing the contacts. It allows for grouping down people and tagging people. And it's a great way for you to analyze your database. And then we take it through to your email marketing automation. Now, it's normally at this instance, I get people go, oh, but Andrea, oh my God, I'm sick to tired of being emailed to death. Well, interestingly enough, it is still one of the most popular ways to actually reach your audience. It also still has very good engagement levels. The reason why people are sick or tired of hearing from you is because normally what you're doing is sending a general communication out to everybody. In other words, what you're taking is a scattergun approach where you're hoping like heck you hit someone, but along the way you've killed a few. All right. So the intention here of your email marketing working hand in hand with your CRM system is that you take what I call is a sniper approach, and that is the right communication to the right audience. For example, the skincare business. There's no point in talking to somebody who's told you that they've got dry skin and you go and talk about the oily skin zone. I mean, what's the freaking point? They're going to get annoyed with you because you're not communicating to them. It's like going into a bar, ladies and gents, and you sidle up to the bar and you start having 3 or 4 conversations with, 3 or 4 different people, not necessarily paying any attention to what they're telling you or saying to you, because all you're caring about is what you're sharing with them. Oh, yes. Okay. So your email marketing automation, if segmented and if communicated correctly, can actually be a very powerful way for your potential audience to turn from leads into clients. More importantly, it's a great way for you to also find out their engagement and also their intent to actually want to build relationship with you as well. Step number 3, your booking calendar link. If there are people here today who actually rely on appointments, or you've got people booking appointments with you, the most cost-effective, time-effective, less stress approach is actually if you give them access to a booking calendar. Now, I run 3. Yeah, I know I'm a bit of an overkill like that, but I have 3 different booking calendars that, believe it or not, all actually funnel into my one email communication, which is I use a Microsoft Office 365. Some people use G Suite. But what it actually does, it means that I can send an email. I don't have to do the toing and froing going, are you free this day? Are you free this time? What about here? No, what about there? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. And you've wasted 15 minutes in just trying to book an appointment. Send them a calendar link that gives them the availability for you. They look in their calendar, they look in your calendar, and they book. Done. Easy, simple, efficient, right? And the cool thing about it is that your booking calendar can actually also have an automated communication system off the back end as well. That's pretty funky. One of them I do recommend you have a look at is calendly.com. It's probably one of the simplest to use and also one of the most cost effective. So if we're looking at CRM systems, team, and email communication, these are just some of the examples, right? They are, they're not the be all, they're not the end all. And I always get asked, Andrea, which one's the right one for me? And I go, I don't know, because I don't know what you need to do inside your business. I don't know what data is important to you. I don't know what your outcome is, but I want you to keep in the back of your mind, team, that you need to be looking seriously at those 3 forms of automated systems, okay? No arguments there. Don't tell me if, buts, and maybes. It's just the way it's happening. Okay, so your CRM and email marketing software. Here are some key questions I want you to be resonating on as you're going through today's webinar. And that is number 1, what do I actually want this thing to do? Like, what do I want it to do? Number 2, how often am I going to use it? Is it going to become an integral part of your marketing and your sales strategy? Or is it something that you might just use once every sort of, 3 or 4 months ago? Oh yeah, I've got that thing called a CRM, and oh yeah, it's got some contacts in it, and oh no, I haven't spoken to it lately. Oh well, yeah, that's great. Keep spending your $97 and getting a new lead, team. Number 3, who is going to look after it for me? If it's going to be you, then you want it to be simple, okay? I'm a big fan of the keep it simple, silly club. I live there very often, so if you want to come and check me out in the Keep It Simple Silly Club, you're more than welcome. But you've got to understand that anything that you introduce into your business does need to be managed. So the question here, who is going to do it? Are you going to do it? Do you have an employee that can do it for you? For some of you, depending upon the size of your business, you may actually have an outsourced marketing agency that might take care of all your content and communication for you. And finally, number 4, where does this thing fit in my business? And once again, if it's an afterthought, we need to have a conversation. If it's an integral part of your business, we need to have a conversation, because we need to understand how, where, why, what, and when. Okay, so resonate on those 4 questions there, team. Hopefully that'll get the old grey matter going a little bit. Now, some of you may have heard of the customer relationship model, and some of you may have heard the saying that it takes anywhere between 4 to 7 touch points to turn a lead into a sale. In actual fact, it could be anything up to 12 touch points, right? Because what we've got to understand here is that we don't know when the lead is going to be hot for you or not. Equally so, we don't know what the touch point is that's going to convert them into being a hot lead. And if we actually think back to the way that we as adults or we as humans learn, the way that we take on information and the way that we engage, there are 4 different ways that we actually take on information. Number 1, we're either visual, right? Number 2, we like to be given stuff to read, right? Read, write. Number 3, some of us like it in an audio, so listening to podcasts, listening to a video really appeals to us. And for many of us, we're actually kinesthetic, where it's a touchy-feely, okay? So we don't know what touch points are going to appeal to what person. And if you only have a single way of communication, then you're going to find that you'll appeal to only 25% of the audience, believe it or not. Okay, so the aim of the game here is to actually understand the different formats on how you can communicate effectively into those particular groups the right information at the right time. So most people look at this and at this flow chart and they go, holy tamale, Andrea, what, I've got to come up with 12 different touch points? No. For some of you in business today, you're in what I call a reactive business. And that is if you're a plumber or a sparky, even if you're a vet, you know, we don't want you unless there's an issue and a problem, and we actually want you to fix that issue yesterday. Okay. For many of you though, you're in what I call as a hello, are you out there? Is there anyone waiting for me business? For marketers, for example, we're in that second category where for most of us, we're having to develop a long-term relationship. Real estate agents, mortgage brokers, insurance brokers are all exactly the same, where we actually have to nurture. That's why it's called the nurture journey, team. That's why we have to nurture that lead through to the point when they're ready to buy, we are at the forefront of their mind. So what's actually a key component of the customer relationship model? And that is the content that you use. Now, many of you are sitting on an absolute gold mine of content. Many of you have got incredible expertise and knowledge that you're just keeping in that thing called your brain, right? So the key here is for us to unlock that content and find ways to be able to cross-purpose your content so that you create once, but you have it in different formats at different times through different communication channels. So what content can you use? Well, how about acknowledging for contact information? How about starting off with a, hey, John, thanks for reaching out and completing our contact us form. It was great to hear from you. Here's a little bit of information that you might want to review just to answer some of your questions, and I'll be in contact with you soon. You could do a simple video like that. You could have it as an automated response from the moment that they fill in that contact us form and press that send button. You could be communicating to them instantly and yet you'd still be asleep. Okay, maybe there are great ways that you can ask for more information. I mentioned Calendly. Interestingly enough, inside Calendly, you can actually, once they've booked the appointment, you can send an automated response requesting a little bit more information. I do it all the time, up to 3 questions, just so I can get a greater understanding as to who I'm going to be communicating to. Perhaps you've got some PDFs there that you can send away. You can send as a bit of just an information giver, you know, as a value add. Maybe you've got FAQs, surveys. Perhaps you've got a discount for first-time users if you're selling products or services. There are so many different types of content that you can provide that gives that head start into that communication. And remember, it's all about building relationship. Remember, nobody likes to be the person in the bar that gets approached. We don't get asked our name, our number, or anything, but get asked if we want to go kiss in the background. Normally that ends up with someone getting slapped and getting cold drinks poured over their head. So don't be that person. So team, the essence I want to leave you with today in mastering 4 simple steps, and that is number 1, it is only 4 simple steps. Lead generation that leads into nurture journey where you build relationship, create the prospect experience so that people can actually self-select whether they are hot for you or not for you, so that you can then provide yourself with the best opportunity in converting at the right time, at the right place, for the right dollar value. So that's Andrea Anderson from Your Marketing Machines, and I look forward to being able to answer some questions for you in the future.
Thanks, Andrea. We'll move to Sheldon's segment. I think you're ready to go.
Yes, thank you. I found my little button. I made my screen too small and the little share portfolio disappears and you can't find it anywhere unless you stretch the window out again, which is interesting. So yeah, I'll pop into the share button now and share my screen.
No worries. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Sheldon. Thank you, Andrea, for your segment.
Right, can everybody see my screen? Happy with that? Give me a thumbs up or what have you. Thank you, Andrea. Okay, here we go.
Sheldon, I can't see your screen.
And
Can't you?
neither can I, Sheldon.
Okay, well, let's see which screen we're sharing then. I'm hoping to share that screen. Maybe that's...
Sorry, Sheldon. Yes, my apologies. I can't see it either.
There you go. I thought, well, you know.
Gotta love technology, mate. You gotta love technology.
Yeah, I just have to put my glasses back on so I can see what screen I'm pointing to. I should be pointing to that screen. Why isn't that screen sharing?
Yep, something is happening.
All right, good. Thank you. Technology works fine. Okay, so this is the introductory screen. Now I've solved my technology issues and challenges. Basically, we're talking about the essential online marketing tools for your business, and Andrea's right in that there is hundreds and hundreds of CRM systems out there that you can use in your business, some of which may be right for your business, a lot of which won't. I'm going to talk about some tools that I use to help businesses organize what software they need for their business, but more importantly, what they need to know before they go and talk to a marketing person about who they want to sell their goods and services to. I use a tool called a business model, and that process helps businesses organize what they need to tell the marketing people about their products and their customers before they can go off and spend lots of money on their marketing processes. So let's look at first. So businesses decide, do they have a problem? So a lot of business owners go, we don't have a problem, we're going along fine, and we don't need to get any more sales or more customers. That's a bit of a fallacy because you need to retain your customers. So you either need to get more sales, you either need to get more visibility, you may need to get more customers as well, or you need to differentiate yourself from your competition. So how do you go about finding out how you want to do that? What's the answer? First of all, you have to find out what you know you don't know. That is the old strategy that our friends in the US, Mr. Rumsfeld, come up with, the known unknowns analogy. What is it that you don't know about your business and your customers that you need to find out? The process we use is based around the 9-element business model canvas, and we'll talk through some of those elements right now. My name is Sheldon Morey. I'm a technology consultant. I've spent a lot of time in the technology space. 4 years ago, I was running a technology company, services company, which in the terms of space was a managed services company. And I had a consulting arm to that business. I spun that off in 2016 to focus on finding the right solutions for customers. I have, in one of my lives, I was involved in the marketing area long before Facebook and Google Ads and SEO were the flavors of the month. I was involved in building a rich media marketing tool, which I took all around the world and installed in email marketing houses in London, Boston, and New York. So the first important element of the business model that we have to understand is, who are your customers? In a business model sense, they're divided into segments because, as Andrea pointed out in the CRM system, you have different types of customers. You need to know what they do, what their problems are, and what you can do to help them. Because business owners or business managers want to buy solutions to their problems. In order to provide a marketing person with what they call an avatar or persona for your customer so that they can market to the right people, you need to know what their role is, who they are, how do they buy, and what's important to them. So the things like how old they are, what their gender is, what their personal details are, as much about that as you can, and that you put into your CRM system. The next part of the process is we need to know what they want to buy. So that's expressed in a canvas sense as the value proposition. So this is where your products go, but it's not going as we sell face cream or widgets for fixing things. This is the value proposition is what is it, what do you supply your customers that will relieve their pain? What do they gain by getting your product? And which products will those particular customers most likely buy? So what will they buy? So do they know about your product? What sort of job does it do? What's its value? Does it have a value to your customers? Will it reduce their costs? And is it easy to use? They're the things that you need to know about your product and your customers. And that can be kept in a CRM, but it's documented and uncovered via the model canvas process. Two other important parts of the marketing side of your business is to look at why would your customers buy from you? So do you provide great assistance in the use or the delivery of your product? Do you give great service? Are your staff giving the best service compared to other people in the market? Do you operate a community where you can bring people together, bring your customers together in a community? And what sort of cooperation do you offer those customers and your clients? That's part of the relationship system. As Andrea said, the acquisition part, it costs a lot of money to acquire customers. So you need to document and prepare the best acquisition process that you can to make sure that the money you spend there is used wisely. Retention is quite easy, but you still need to actually invest time and money and effort in it. So retention is important. And then how do you upsell, boost your clients? The old thing with McDonald's, do you want fries with that? Do you want onion rings with that? Getting stuff, how do you go about that process needs to be put in place in your relationships part of your system. And then you look at the channels that you deliver your product through. So how do your customers buy? You need to know if they're aware of what your product is, how they evaluate it, what sort of purchasing frequency they have, how you're going to deliver it, and then what do you do for after sales? So do you provide good after sales support for your product? The channels that you would send this through they operate differently. So a direct sales model may be you selling to your customers, a direct business to customer process, or it may be indirect. You may go through a distributor operation, distributor management system. So managing those two sorts of channels is different for each type of system. You need a good relationship system. You can expand a customer relationship system into what we call an enterprise resource planning system, which is a CRM on steroids. And that actually is used to actually make more value as far as your business processes go. So not only do you automate your marketing, but then you automate the internal processing of orders and delivery of customer service. Finally, simple thing is I work in an area where we do a lot of mentoring process for the government. And so many of these businesses that come and sit and talk with us often actually don't know what their product costs or what they should price their product at. They often go and say, oh, I'll just price it cheaper than my competitor. Well, that's a good recipe for going out of business rather quickly. So you need to look at your revenue streams, and there's two types. There's a fixed price. You operate a fixed price model. That is a list price, feature price, where you sell the base product and then you offer add-on features. It might be segment-based, so you sell to small customers or small businesses or a geographical area. You sell at one price, different geographical area because of cost of delivery and support. You may sell at a different price, or it may be on straight volume. Like if you buy 5 of these units, you get it for this price. If you buy 10, you get it for 5% less. And then there's a dynamic pricing process that says, how do you negotiate your price on a per contract basis? Do you work on a yield? So like on the volume of what the product will do for the client. So do you have a way of, in the world I worked with in the old days with computer systems, there was a thing called the golden screwdriver. You could actually turn up the processing power of a particular model of system, and that cost the client a little more, but it was just a matter of putting in a new piece of firmware, or in terms of PCs these days, you can simply clock the computer faster. Is it based on the market segment that you're dealing with, or do you have a model where you auction off your products on a first come first served basis? So limiting the availability of things. So for the first 25 people, you get the price of this much. Often auctions are based on for event type systems where you would sell events and you would auction that price off. Is everybody familiar with the way in which a pricing calculator works? So a margin-based pricing system is based around the margin you need to make in order to have a worthwhile business. So that's not just a markup on what it costs you. You actually need to know what margin you need to get. So there's an example of a calculation. $200 product. If you have a 15% margin, you are actually selling it for $235 is a 15% margin. I'm not going to talk about cost structures because that's another part of the process. That's business model. That's more aimed at the efficiency side of the business. So, summing this up, in order for you to describe to your marketing department and your marketing agency the persona of your client, you need to know what do you need to know from them should be documented in your business model. You need to know what they want, and you need to know what they value. So what you do is use this information to deliver to the marketing department so that marketing can attract the right customers. So you're passionate about your product. You want your customers to be passionate about what you sell them. That's it, guys. Any questions or any discussions on business models, how it works, what you need to do? You can put in the question and answer chat bot, and we will look after it later. Over to you, Katrina. Do I have to
Thanks
point
for
you?
that, Sheldon.
Do I have to point you back somewhere?
I can take control.
Good.
Yeah.
Feel free.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. It's yours.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Andrea, can you see my screen? Okay, beautiful. Excellent. All right, so thank you again for everyone joining us today. I think we've got a couple of people that may be accessing the recording later on today due to meetings and such, but it's been really insightful so far with Andrea's focus on marketing, the marketing blueprint, and following that nurture journey, which is really important. And just to kind of pull in from Sheldons Segment to look at the actual customer persona and what actually dictates how you would structure your marketing. So following that nurture journey and pairing that with the actual demographics of your customer segmentation helps you to create a marketing strategy that will actually work. And then obviously once you've worked those out, the next step is to generate or create some kind of reaction or response from the client, which you need your website to be able to facilitate for you. One would think that your marketing tools, your CRM, everything's integrated within your landing pages, and this is where you're going to capture that information from your clientele and or potential customers from the website. So my focus today is landing pages that convert, which is essentially content marketing. So pulling in a few different aspects of web development, content creation, and marketing strategy. So one of the things that I want everyone to be very clearly aware of as they're going through my segment today is, and we all know this, but do we actually apply this when we construct our websites and put together our emails when we're sending them to clients, and to actually nurture that journey, as Andrea quite so nicely put it, is it's not what you sell, because there is plenty of web developers out there, there are plenty of electricians out there, but it's the relationship that you actually generate. So it's how you build that trust, that rapport with the client. So it's how you solve the problem. How do you communicate that, how you solve that problem to the clients or to the potential website visitors, that creates the conversion or generates the sales for your business. So it's not what you sell, it's how you sell it. Some food for thought. I really love that picture of the parakeet and the tiger. When we look at marketing in the more general and traditional sense, we need to, it becomes an annoying process, not just for the clients, but for us as well. So we need to treat it like a completely different animal. And so thinking outside of the box and pulling in everything and any tools that you can generate or tips that you can put together to really hone in your marketing strategy. So understanding, and this comes through from some of Sheldon's and Andrea's presentations, is understanding what is your product, what is the service that you offer for your clients, and who is your target market. You would possibly be surprised, or may not be, that probably 90% of small businesses that I've worked with through Ranking Australia think they have an idea of their target market. Some people say, oh, my product is relevant to everyone, when it's not necessarily. The products that tend to be more successful are those that are streamlined in a particular niche, which you've probably heard of the term niche marketing. And niche marketing ends up being a specific product for a specific need, which means that your marketing must be targeted specifically to that group of people in that need. And when it's more specific, you end up with a higher conversion rate with your marketing. So understanding who that is integrally important for your marketing strategy. How will they find your product? So whether it's online, through your website, social media advertising, or going out physically and having a store that people can visit, or presenting your brand out at exhibitions, expos, and whatnot. Now, before we get into your successful landing pages, I want you to consider the fact that it's, again, coming back to Andrea's phrase of nurturing that customer journey. How do they feel when, or how should they feel when they see your product or your landing page? And how should they react? So naturally, we want to create that action. So generate those sales for you, or at least begin that customer journey. So we need to have the content structured in order to actually facilitate that. Okay, so getting right into the technical aspects of the landing pages. So creating content that utilizes SEO best practice. So there is a formula for this on the next page for you. So again, this session is recorded. If you need to take a screenshot, you can, by all means. So following a strict formula for your landing pages to be able to be found on Google, which also needs to be submitted to Google Search Console via your XML page, hooked into your Google tools. So your Google My Business needs to be set up, so links to your website, as well as Google Search Console taking your sitemap, which is a question that you can feel free to ask me about later, or to ask your web developer to make sure that it's submitted if it hasn't been already, which is usually a general practice when you start to advertise your website. Next step would be to research your keywords. And it's still quite a new concept for business owners when they're, okay, yes, I've got a website. So understanding what you don't know is understanding how your customers actually find you, how they behave, what they search for. So finding out what the high volume search terms which people say, okay, so if I'm selling handmade leather handbags, is your client going to type that into Google? We can't assume every time. We need to actually find the high volume opportunities, high volume search term opportunities. So I'll be showing you a tool that you can use to find out exactly what people are searching for, because we can't make assumptions in this area. And these need to be applied to your SEO and your content. There's 4 P's content formula for your landing page structure, which I'll also go through, and obviously creating a desired response. So need to be a call to action, a way to contact you, or a way to view your products online. That is a definite need to be on your landing page that you're sending people to with your marketing. So the SEO's best practice is making sure that you've got your keywords, your high volume keywords, in your page title, in your content, first paragraph, first sentence. Your search phrase needs to be, and generally you'll have one main key search phrase per page that will be focused for SEO, your content, and bringing people to that particular landing page. Your loading speed for that landing page for optimal results should be between 3 and 5 seconds. If it's higher than this, you could look at optimizing or reducing the size of images. WordPress has some really cool tools to reduce your CSS, which is the code that makes your page look the way it does. And so there's SEO plugins to help you as well. So Yoast SEO is a fantastic plugin that gives you like a traffic light system to tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So if you follow the instructions through Yoast, you'll actually be able to improve your SEO. Keywords, you don't want to overpack it. You can generally use 5 to 7 times throughout the page. I find that if you use it at least 12 or less times, it's okay. Any more than that tends to start going, giving you the error that you've overused the keyword. External links to referral partners or websites that can potentially boost your reputation as well can help with your SEO, because you're contributing to the World Wide Web. So this is what Yoast SEO plugin, the WordPress plugin, looks like, but it's also quite similar across lots of different CMS, which is a big word I'm throwing out there, content management system. So if you've got, say, Wix or Squarespace or some kind of website builder, if you're not a website developer or familiar enough to build on, say, WordPress or build your own website, you've got a lot of builders out there, which even Shopify e-commerce sites still give you this ability to type in an SEO title and a meta description. This is what comes up in Google. So you've got a bit of a preview there at the very top and a green light there at the very top to tell you that it's looking good for your keyword focus, which in this case is Primavera sound, but what does it actually look like in Google? So you've got a snapshot here from Ranking Australia's SEO. So this is the back end code, what the source code that Google reads. So it's got a title. So Ranking Australia is my main key phrase. And that is also, you've got Google ranking in the description, and you've got Ranking Australia in the keywords as well as Google ranking. So that actually comes up position 1 for Google search, and we need to make sure that our key phrase is in those 3 elements, in the title, in the description, and in the keywords, as well as in the paragraph, so first paragraph of the page. Okay, so finding keywords, and I do realize we're coming up on time. I will try to speed things up a little bit, but we may be over by about 10 minutes. I do understand if you have to go, but if you could stick around, we can answer some questions at the end, which would be fantastic. Don't forget to put them in the chat box. But keywords everywhere, coming back to the tools that we can use for our landing pages. Keywords everywhere is a paid plugin now, a Chrome plugin. So if you go to the Chrome web store, you can find keywords everywhere that is installed, and you can actually get some specific search numbers, cost per click, etc., just under where you search for in your Google search bar. So how much does it cost? It really is minimal at most. So $10 buys you 100,000 credits. One search is 1 credit. So the average person searches 3 to 4 times daily, which equates to about 60 years or more of credits. But compared to an SEO specialist who run about 300 or more searches per day, which basically means that the $10 will still last a year for us. So it's quite useful and very, very powerful. So this is what it actually looks like when you go into Google. So your search phrase, it'll give you the search volume, the average cost per click recommendation for Google Ads to get on the first page. And it is just a recommendation. It's not necessarily exact, but it will tell you how much competition you do have for that particular search phrase as well. So how many people are actually searching for it. Okay, so next step is the content structure formula. So I mentioned the 4 Ps at the beginning of my presentation, and that is to create a picture, create a promise or establish a promise, prove your experience or ability to solve the problems, as well as push the client to respond in the desired way. So creating a picture, you want to make sure that you create a vivid image where the client puts himself in that position where their problems are solved, and it should be relieving their pain. So what are their pain points for your service or product? That's what you're going to address in your first paragraph. And then you want to generate some kind of promise, or how will you bring an end to their pain and make it realistic for them to actually move into that I want to buy position. Keeping in mind that there is the nurturing journey to consider. So at the very least, you want to, is it a buy now product that is cheap and accessible, and it should be a high volume sell? Or is it a long-term commitment that you are actually looking for? That will determine how you push the client. So in the end, to nudge the prospect to take action, if it's going to be a long-term commitment with you, so for example, if you are a business consultant or a software developer you would potentially want them to have an easy, very little commitment with information sharing from the client to you, meaning that you would just be collecting their details at this point and hopefully getting a phone call or a potential meeting. So you want to be careful with that journey. If it's a set product, it's $15, $20 for that particular product, and you want them to buy now, you want them to register now, So it's a different approach you will take based on how much commitment you need from the client. I'll come back to the proof just quickly. This is your social proof. Statistics also help, but you want to include your review plugins if you're using WordPress. There are API codes that can be integrated by your web developers to put in your Facebook or Google reviews into your website, because these are real reviews, real time. People trust these rather than the typed in, auto-generated testimonials that you see on dime a dozen websites, and then it will give you more credibility if you're utilizing the social plugins and APIs from Google and Facebook to build your credibility and further push the client to get that desired reaction. Just also quickly, the desired length for a landing page is about 500 to 700 words. So your content, including whatever other content is on that page, will come to about 500 to 700 words. Which is enough for Google to realize that, okay, you've got enough content around that particular search phrase, your page will be relevant, more relevant than others that might only have, say, 100 to 200 words on their page. Okay, so creating that desired response, coming back to social proof. If it's just generated, auto-generated testimonials that come with, say, a particular website theme, they will be accepted as fake very clearly. But if it's an actual plugin that comes through from Google or Facebook, it will be perceived as fact. So not only will you have that integrated into your website, but you'll make it very easy for people to contact you. So either your email or phone numbers and social links need to be very clearly visible and accessible on that landing page. And focusing on the problems that you solve paired with the social proof will help generate the desired response. So just quickly, I've got a walk through one of Ranking Australia's clients, North Lakes and Surrounds Electrical. So you'll see some of the elements that I've been speaking about generated here. So we've got easy to contact, you've got social media buttons to go through and see their social media profiles. Their phone number is clearly evident. You can call them, book straight away. What is it they do? They're obviously electricians, and their service areas are mentioned there. Taking a look, let's see if they focus on pain points and problems that they solve. So very quickly, you can see that they have obviously electrical safety is a pain point, being on time and available 24/7 in the event of an emergency, and making sure that everything is covered by insurance. They can easily, again, you've got that call to action, so actually reaching out and making a call or making a booking online. Now, focusing on their promise, and what makes them different is they're a family-owned business, they're local, second to none, focusing on their services as being efficient and reliable. Again, why would clients want to call them? Reaffirming what problems that they solve. They're not rude, which some trade businesses, you as a client, you can experience that people are too busy to answer your call. They won't turn up on time. When they come and leave, they leave the place in a mess. So they're focusing on these pain points within their landing page. And there's the social proof. So coming straight through from Google reviews. And just to let you know as well, Cube Online generates this particular integration whereby you can actually manage and only show reviews that are 5 stars or more, and you get to readdress those clients if you get 4 stars or less, so that you can resubmit your review request to them and push it through to Google when you have that 5 star, which is really cool. Again, building your credibility with the associations and registrations that they're with, and again, making it easier for them to contact them. So following the landing pages that convert formula. So just to finish up with my presentation, we've got key tools to take away would be the SEO best practice. So following the steps for putting your keywords in your headings, making sure it's in your first sentence of your first paragraph, that you've used around 7 times that one key phrase, and synonyms, alternatives, making sure that you have researched those keywords thoroughly with Keywords Everywhere, and following up on the 4 Ps for your content creation. Have you generated the picture, created a clear picture of what it is, what problems you actually solve? Have you provided a promise or a way that you can relieve those pain points? And have you proven your experience or ability to do so with either social proof or general statistics that you can include, or potentially case studies that you've actually worked on that you can publish with permission from the client, of course, and then obviously creating the push to action and creating the desired response. So naturally generating a potential lead generation into your CRM, or actually getting a booking phone call or a form filled in that goes into your newsletter for them to keep apprised on what's happening. Okay, so just to finish up before questions, just wanting to remind everyone here that you can reach out to myself, Sheldon, or Andrea through the Australian Small Business Advisory Services, the Digital Solutions Program, which is a government subsidised, heavily subsidised digital support and training program that small businesses can get access up to 24 hours of subsidised support, webinars and workshops. So that is limited to 2 hours per month. So, but there is a whole range of different programs that you can access. So a huge amount of webinars going out this month until the end of November at $2.20, I believe. It's a promotion at the moment. So I believe I'm delivering one on the 25th for Google Ads if anyone is interested. But Andrea also has some webinars. I'm sure she will let us know which ones they are, along with Sheldon, myself and Andrea being searchable in the Adams database once you register for the AdsBuzz program, and you can get support in any way digital. So if you've got questions about your social media marketing, questions about that nurture journey for Andrea, if you've got questions about the technology model, understanding your customer segments or your revenue streams, or wanting to get a little bit more clarification on the how much a sale is actually worth to you, how much a customer is actually worth to you, what's the value that you deliver as far as the value proposition goes. So anything digital, feel free to log in, register. It's free to register, and you can find us in any one of these, I believe. So please feel free to go through and do that. Ask any questions in relation to that. Now I'm going to open up the floor for everyone to be able to ask any questions. But once again, thank you for your time today,